we have only two more. Attorney Jack Wolfe representing Border Patrol agent David Sipe. His prosecution began during the Clinton administration and was continued on through this current administration.
They indicted him and we went through a trial and my client was found guilty. However, during the trial, the government lied, cheated, withheld evidence, suborned perjury, did not turn over criminal records of witnesses, and it just stunk. As a matter of fact, this alien was subsequently apprehended again and not prosecuted for smuggling illegal aliens on a second time. Now, unlike other counsel here, the full strength of my law firm was me. I'm the only one there. There was nobody else but me to defend David. After the first trial, because he was found guilty and prior to sentencing, Judge Ricardo Hinojosa of the Southern District of Texas granted a new trial. It's the only new trial that he's ever granted in 25 years, and because the stench was just too much to take. The government appealed it to the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals. The Fifth Circuit Court affirmed the granting of a new trial. Now, this trial happened in 2001. Now, in 2006, we go to trial again, and after 4.5 days, he's acquitted within 1 hour. Part of the reason was the government couldn't do the same tricks they did in the first trial, although they did lie in the second trial as well. My client lost his job, lost his house, lost his car, lost his wife, went bankrupt. He was fired, and the reason the government fired him is because they said he was convicted. Now that this conviction, now he's been acquitted, the government is still fighting to give and refusing to give his job back. And he's going through that process now. He lives with me at my house because he does not have a place to stay. He doesn't have any money and he's broke. In these two trials, I made $500. But I believed in my client. I knew that he was being railroaded. Or I don't even want to call it railroaded anymore. I want to call it being knifed. That's what was happening to him. And our very government, the government I used to work for and I used to be a prosecutor for, did this stuff to a man they knew were innocent. Prior to the trial, we got a hold of a government memorandum in which the head prosecutor said that the victim was resisting arrest, lawful arrest, that the wound to the victim was fairly minor, and the fact that the victim was had been arrested the night before and arrested again and would not be very sympathetic. In spite of all of this, the government prosecuted and lied. Even the United States Attorney, after the case was over, the second case, I guess because he felt like he had to make up an excuse for why they lost the second case, stated to the press that, well, I'm sure the fact that the victim wasn't able to identify the Border Patrol agent after all these years was a critical factor. The fact of the matter is, they were never able to identify my client, and that was never an issue in the case. The identity of my client was never the issue, but since the government doesn't like to lose trials, and since they like to make up reasons, the U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of Texas just lied about it, gratuitously lied about it. The prosecutors in this case gratuitously lied to the court on numerous occasions and were caught lying to the court. It's amazing that these things can even happen in this country. Our first line protectors are out there trying to do their job, and instead of being rewarded for their efforts, they're being punished for the efforts. I know you heard all these other war stories today and the injustice that goes on. Hopefully, Department of Justice will put justice back into its name, and maybe things will happen a little better in the future. Thank you.
Our last speaker today